All right, so here we have standards. Really easy to add standards. All you have to do is just click on the plus button here, add standards, and select the standard. Let's say that this is the Common Core, and we are adding here, let's say English language, and we are going to add here grade level. Let's say we are adding 11th, 12th, and this is where it's going to provide you all the standards for English language, 11th, 12th grade, and then you decide which one apply, and you just check mark them, and basically, and then add selected standards. And that's how these standards that you see here are going to show up. And then supporting materials. This is where you as a teacher can add supporting materials, or the students can add supporting materials as well. So the types of things that you and students can add are websites, PDFs, YouTube files, MP3 files, any G Suite file, and any Office 365 file, the one that sits on the web, not the one that is on your computer. And then tasks. We are great believers in project management, as I said before, and we want to encourage you to have students get used to the idea that this is part of life once they get out to the workforce. And so to create tasks is really easy. You just click on the new task button here, type in the title of the task, the date, this short description, how it will be done. And once this is assigned to students, you will see a list of the students in the team, and the student that's going to perform this, either you or them can check mark that, and then that task is assigned to those students. Tasks can be created by you and can be also created by students. And then assigned to class. This is the place where you will, once you author a project, you can assign it to the class. There are two ways to assign a project to a class. The first one is is when you decide who are going to be in the team. You will ahead of time set up the teams. And then the second one is when you decide to give them more independence and you delegate. And you can delegate it to a team leader. And that team leader is going to then add the additional team members who are going to work with him or her in the team. Publish to catalog. You can publish to the school or the district catalog. Right now, what this serves is, let's say that you design your own project from scratch, or you just customize a project. And another teacher thinks, oh, this is something I can use as well. You can publish it to the school or district catalog, and that teacher can take your template and can assign it to her class or his class as well. And then we are also working here on being able to publish finished student projects. And the reason this is not finished yet is because we are going to strip this project from any identifying information. And what that means is you're not going to see student names, and you are also not going to see their analytics or anything like that. All you will see is just a project. That's it. So that's coming up. Evaluate. This is where you will add your rubrics. You can add any type of file here, PDF, G Suite, whatever you define your rubrics. And this is going to be listed here. And once students start working, they just click on the link and see what the requirements are from this project. Finally, analytics. So right now, of course, there's nothing in here because we are not recording any contribution by teachers. The only contribution we are recording is by students. So once students start working, you will start seeing analytics, and I will show you how that looks like in a finished project. And so, so this is the project dashboard, and this is the project workspace. We are great believers in computational thinking. And what that means is that this is the way that engineers solve problems. When they have a big problem, They break it down to smaller problems and they solve each separately. And then they put it back together with some logical glue. So one ways by which we implement that is by breaking down a project into phases. What you see on the top, these are tabs, like tabs in a browser. And each of these tabs is a phase in the project. And so here, this is, like I said, this is any historical event. You can use this template for any historical event. And, and so this is the first tab that are identifying the key elements of this historical event. So let's say that I'm working on World War II. It's really easy to change this from key elements of historical event to key elements of World War II, because this is click to edit and your editing tools are showing up on the top. What you see here is scaffolding. And so all these are just, placeholder images from different historical events, and as well as text boxes that are also placeholders for students to come once they do the research, they type it up and so on. So again, you don't have to provide students with scaffolding if you decide not to. And the reason is that on this right panel, the first menu item is instructions for this tab. And in the instructions for this tab, you can type up exactly what your expectations are from the student, and they can then come up and create whatever needs to be created. You have the ability to add here videos, images, text, links, anything that you need to add in order for them to understand what they need to do. So, but the reason we create these these projects with scaffolding is because our experience shows that this is something that teachers like and students like as well, because it focuses their attention. And so moving on to the next tab, this is a description of the event. And this is where the students will describe what is the event, a short description, place the images, of course, when and where did it happen, how did it happen, so on and so forth. And moving on from here, the factors that contributed to this historical event. And what you see here is a mind map. And yes, these are all the tools that we have in Project Pulse. And one of the tools that we are using is the relationship tool. So you can do your own mind map here. So when you click on the relationship here, then all you have to do in order to connect two objects on the workspace is just select the line, the type of line, the thickness, whether it ends with an arrow, and the color. And then once the relationship tool is selected, every object in Project Pulse gets these little purple dots that you can click on and drag from it to another object here. And then even define the relationship between them. So in this case, influence to whatever. I mean, I'm just typing something. And so this is how you connect to objects, really easy to do. And then finally, the consequences that came out of it. And so this is how, this project looks like. And then, of course, you can add as many tabs as you wish to. And if this is not enough, if you want to expand on it and so on and so forth, all you have to do is just click on the plus button here and click on new tab. And that creates for you a new tab, completely empty, and you can fill it out and add whatever you need to add. Of course, tabs can be deleted if you don't need them. And they can be, tabs can be also reordered. So you can take this and move it. So there's a few options here: move right, move left, rename, and so on. And there's one more option of creating tab from template. I'm going to show you that a little bit later. So let me just move on for a second to one of the projects that Nevada teacher used this template exactly to have her students work on the pandemic. And this team decided to work on the key elements of polio. So what they did, they of course replaced everything, all the images with relevant images to polio, and of course did the research. They placed the titles and everything, identified these are very important factors that they have to consider before working on this project. And then moving on to the event itself, described how the polio outbreak started and what happened. And then moving from here, they moved to the factors contributing to the polio outbreak, and moving on, the consequences that came out of it. She told us that she and another teacher assigned it to 400 students. And she told that, and within a week, and these students finished it in 2 weeks. And she said, again, this is a Title I school in Nevada. She told us that she had never seen her students so engaged, so highly engaged, like they were working on Project Pause on this project. She said more than 90% of them were highly, highly engaged. So let me move back to here, and let me move to something that, you know, I would like, Chris, can you identify for me a topic or something that you guys would be interested? I'm sure that you guys have all the subjects there, but something that I should focus on while I'm training you guys.
Yeah, actually, I'll leave it up to some of our staff members. I don't know if there's anyone that wants to ask Miriam to pick a particular subject area or topic.
Design one. Oh, sorry, Ruth, you can go.
One. I'm just throwing it out there.
What did you say? Sorry.
Design the city of your dream.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yes. So somebody asked me if we can ask questions. Yes, please, you can stop me anytime. I'm sorry, I did not mention it. Yeah, you can stop me anytime and ask questions.
Jackie, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, that's great. Let's see it.
Sorry, excuse me?
No, it's good. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So design the city of your dreams. So first of all, I'm gonna go, the first thing is, like I said, we recommend to start using Project Pause with the going to the Project Pause catalog. The reason is that this is kind of gets you into how things are done in Project Pause. So what, you know, and there's, like I said, there's more than 2 other projects. I'm pretty sure you will find here something that aligns with what you are teaching. And if not, then you can always customize it, and it's really easy to do. Now, just to answer your question, and question of a lot of teachers about whether they will be able to find any subject or anything that they are teaching. No, you will not. This was created, this platform is a platform. It was created as a platform. It was not created as content. So we are not content providers. However, we do provide content because there was a lot of need for that. And so we started creating content then, and we are adding to it all the time. So we are adding more and more subjects to it. But you will not be able to, let's say, you know, you have a certain standards and you want to address those standards. Not yet. It's coming. We are going to add those standards. So you'll be able to search by standard. But right now we don't have that. Okay, so I just want to explain that. And so really what we are recommending at this stage is just use some of these projects, or at least use one project in the beginning to understand how things work in Project Pause. Once you do that, you know, you will probably get the hold of it, and you'll be able to even take some of our one-tap templates and customize it exactly what you need in your class. So here is the design the city of your dreams. And what I'm going to do is just clone it because I already know the project. But if you don't know the project yet, all you have to do is click on the title here and it opens up the project, and you can just review it and decide, oh, this is what I want. I actually, you know, you go through it and you decide, yes, this addresses what I need. So once you do that and you went through all the tabs and you're happy with it, then you can go to the catalog and say, okay, now I'm ready to clone. And then you just go there and click on the clone button. And once you clone a project, then it creates a copy for you, and it tells you go to project, because any project in the catalog you cannot edit. But once you create a clone, this is your copy, and now you can change everything. So this is my copy, and just to show you what happened here, I'm going to show you. So next to the plus, and any project that you clone will always show up next to the plus button. So I just cloned this, and it shows up next to my clone, plus button here. So I'm going to go into this project. This is my copy now, and I can do anything I want with it. And so, as I said before, projects are broken into into these tabs or phases of the project. So this project starts with basically exploring the differences between city and rural living. And so what you see here is a bunch of guiding questions that will help students respond to these text boxes, what they are expected to do in these text boxes. In each of these, you have, like I said, you have some scaffolding for the students inside the text box itself, explaining what they need to focus on and so on. If you decide that you don't want to give them that, that's fine. You can include everything in the instructions box here, so you can type up that. Another new addition, like I said, we are always improving the lesson plan experience, and we are starting to add videos to each tab. So just in case that, you know, I'm teaching you all this and you assigned this to your class and then you forgot something I said, or you don't really remember, then there's always the video per tab that your students can go to and you know, listen to, and then it's very clear to them what they need to do. As you see, we have question tools. So the question tool is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the question tool. When you click on the question tool, then it creates for you actually a placeholder for a question. All you have to do is just click inside and start typing, you know. Now you're asking yourself, why question tool? So basically this label indicates that what you're supposed to expect here is a question. We are visual learners, so it's a good idea to be able to distinguish between regular text and between a question. So that's probably one of the reasons, and you will see that later why we did that. So this is one way of adding, you know, more questions, and you can put them here. And then, like I said before, you can change anything. You can just click inside and type and change the color or do anything you want to change the title. Same here. And here, students are getting, like I said, instructions to type, you know, to describe the description of city living and what to focus on and so on. You also see images, very easy to add media in Project Pulse. The way to add media, so let's say that I'm going to now go to Google and I'm going to type in here city living. And I'm going to go to images here. And I'm going to choose, well, this is, yeah, definitely city living. And I'm going to choose an image here of city living. I don't know, maybe this. And then I'm going to right click here and go to copy image address. And then move back to Project Pulse and open the 1, 2, 3. This is the media tool. And I'm going to click on the plus button here and insert URL, what I just copied. And I'm going to click go, and it added my city living here. And then I'm going to go place on workspace. And the image that was just, oh, here it is. The image that I just added is here. And I can now extend it. Actually, I copied the same image here. I can extend it and do anything I want with it. So, you know, make it bigger, make it smaller. And the types of media that you can add are as follows. And let me go back to the media here. And the type of media that you can add are as follows. So first of all, you can add images, as you see. You can add videos. And the type of videos that you can add are YouTube videos. Right now, we are only supporting YouTube. So if you have a video that's not on YouTube, you probably need to upload it first to YouTube, and then you can include it here in Project Pulse. Very soon, we are planning to support Google Drive. I mean, direct access. We are supporting Google Drive files, but you have to actually use the shareable link to transfer them to Project Pulse. But very soon you will have direct access from Project Pulse to the Google Drive. And you'll be able to, even if you upload a video into Google Drive, you'll be able to immediately include that here. But right now it's only through YouTube. MP3 files, you can add MP3 files. You can add PDFs. You can add any G Suite file, like I said, through the shareable link. And you can add any Office 365 files, again, through the shareable link. No Office files from your hard drive. We are not supporting that. It has to be web-based. So that's what you can see here. And
Miriam,
then, yes.
I'm sorry, can I ask you a question? There was some question in the chat that the teacher had. So they were asking, are students able to edit everything on the screen or only certain parts of the project?
So yes, they are able to edit everything. They are.
Okay.
But
and then,
yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
but you can lock, but when you can lock tabs. So when you click here, there is an option to lock workspace. But don't expect them to allow student to work on that workspace once it's locked. So there's a problem there.
Also, Miriam had another question. So essentially, I see how like this project has its own like URL or link. I could take that link and put it on another platform that we use as a school, correct? If I use if we use a particular platform for like attendance and grades, I could leave that link and then students could access it from that platform and it would take them to the project. Okay.
Yes, so basically the link is for the entire project here. So you can copy that URL and put it, let's say if you guys have Google Classroom, you can put it there as a link and then the students just click on that link. It will open the entire project for them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Since you can't lock specific areas, and so you have to leave the whole workspace open. What happens if a kid decides accidentally, right? They go in and they delete it.
Okay.
Is there a way to recover what they deleted, or is everything just lost?
Yes, there is. Okay. So basically, whatever you are creating, we have something that's called the content library. This is the first tool in your toolbox. And the content library has everything from the moment you start creating your project, you as a teacher, everything is recorded in the content library and everything can be repurposed. Not just that, if you there is no permanent delete in Project Pulse. So if I am deleting this text box, if I'm going in here and I can only archive. I can archive it. So now it's archived. Now I need to go to the content library if I want to restore this. And on the top, it says show archived. I'm going to switch the archive mode. And here is the one that I, was this it? Oh. Okay. And then here is the one that I just archived and I can replace it and I can put it back on the workspace. So nothing is deleted permanently.
But my secondary question is this, and it's still like I'm thinking like a teenager, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I come in, I'm new to this, I'm not really sure how to work it.
Okay.
I go to, let's say, this picture that you have that says city living.
Yeah.
I don't like the picture, and let's say my teammates don't like the picture, but the teacher put it there because that's the picture they're supposed to be working off of.
Okay.
And I delete the picture.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when the students leave that workspace, does it update?
No.
So when the students leave the workspace, it doesn't update. It stays fluid, it stays open.
You made a good point for actually being able to lock objects on the workspace, separate objects.
Right. I'm glad I was able to give you that idea.
Yeah, of course, of course. And let me tell you, I'm going to immediately transfer that to our development team and they will actually make that happen. So that when you click on the context menu, there's going to be one that says lock this object and then they cannot remove it.
Yeah, it's because it should only be for the facilitators, because if I'm thinking if I have, because not all students get along. So if I see someone else's work and I'm like, let me just make it disappear for them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. We were trying to think about what you said as a teenager. So that's why we created the whole archiving, we are archiving things.
Okay.
And not allowing to delete permanently anything. Yeah, we did not think about that. And I will definitely talk to our development team and they will add it as another thing in the, yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so let's move on from here. And then the next tab here is the city history. And this is where the students are just going to have all these guiding questions that are going to help them to create the history of their city. And what you see here is an interesting tool. So in addition, we told you we are great believers in computational thinking and breaking down problems into, into their phases, like I said. But we also have two computational thinking tools. One of them is the component tool, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. And this is the event tool. So components, let me explain that. What is components? So components are, when you think about the problem, let's say you think about city of your dreams, then you think, what are the main parts that I actually need to understand before I am going to be able to design a city of my dreams? And so you start thinking, oh, okay, so I need to understand what the mayor does and what the city council does. And there's a whole bunch of components and parts that you actually have to understand. And so in a minute, I'll show you what that is, what those components are. And then the second tool that is the computational thinking tool is processes. So if components record the main parts and their characteristics, what defines them, the events actually define the processes. So in this case, what you see here is the history of my city would be a process, or would be a something that is similar to a process, like a timeline, So basically, you see that the event tool allows you actually to record each milestone in your city history and the dates that happened. So this is kind of a timeline. And it also allows you to display it in gallery mode. So in order for you to see how that looks exactly, let me just switch for a minute to a finished project. And it's actually in science and not in social studies. And then I'm going to go back to it. And to show you how that looks like, how the event tool looks like. So this is another project. Like I said, this is more STEM related. And this is what I was talking about, the component tool. And in the component tool, basically, so this is a project about students having to design a transport system, such as the one that Amazon is using in its fulfillment centers. And but not before they understand how simple machines work and what is the physics behind simple machines. And once they do that, then they need to also understand how the fulfillment system works in Amazon. Once they understand all these related information that is necessary and absolutely, absolutely important for them to understand before they go on to create with some robotics, with some robotic hardware and software to create their own transport system, they actually need to understand all these things. And so what you see here is these are the components. So for each of these, the physics of simple machines, they created the component. One is called force, the other motion, the third is energy. And what you see here, these branches that you see here are actually the characteristics of each. So the students are doing research, and then they have to kind of summarize what they learned about force in these short sentences. And why is this so great? So first of all, if you think about it for a minute, they tell you that when students are getting tested, one of the best methods for learning is by creating those flashcards. So, and flashcards basically force them to take all that information and kind of put it in a very few words in each of these flashcards. So this is more or less what's behind this. Basically, they have to take this whole information about force, instead of writing this whole essay, they have to put it in very short sentences, define the basic characteristics of each. You can add as many characteristics as you want. There's no limit on that. What's great about this is three things. One of them is students remember this much faster, and because it's easier for your brain to process these short sentences. It adds to their comprehension. And finally, it also is a very good tool for collaboration, because instead of having your other team members read a whole essay about force, they are looking at these short sentences and they are able to weigh in. They are able to say, oh, you know what, I went through all your characteristics and I think that you missed something. Can we add something to it? And they can add, and so on. So that there's, oh, you know, there's a whole opportunity for collaboration here. But then let me move on for a minute to the fulfillment centers here, because that wasn't my focus. And I wanted to show you the event tool. So the event tool, like I said, it could serve as, you can actually record processes here through this. And so, so here, I'm, of course, the dates here are not relevant. I'm just showing it for whenever I do a demo. I want to show them how you can use this tool, not just as describing a process, but also as describing a timeline or describing milestones. And then you can add dates, relevant dates to it. And you have different types of displays for it. So this is the default display when where you show all the steps, but you can also display it in a gallery mode where you show the image big and the text underneath like that, and you can scroll through them and show, and show the class exactly what happened and how it happened. We are working on adding, being able to add a video here as well, so that's coming up. And finally, you can also display it on a map. So if, let's say that this is a social studies project, and location has some meaning, or even in other cases, not just social studies, then you can map it on a Google map. And so here are all the, all the location where all these things happen. And you can just open all these, you can see the images and the description, everything, how it happened in this case. So this is a very powerful tool. So let me move back to our project. And so that's the idea behind it here. The idea is that you take the milestone of your city, you describe it as a step-by-step process or as milestones. You add dates to it, the relevant dates, and you also add locations. Where did it happen? And you will be able to display it in all these views. Then moving on from here, students are going to focus more on the name and influencer, geographic elements, so on and so forth. So usually I'm going to focus more on this in our project management phase, but usually there is a whole issue of dividing the work so that they are not going to step on each other. Okay. All right, let's moving on to the next phase. Not everything will be done in Project PAL. So for example, in my utopian city, of course, they will have to kind of design their own city. There are a few softwares that are fitting that. One of them can be SimCity or SketchUp or Tinkercad. The kids can have a lot of fun designing their future city. And then once they do that, they can import the images of what they designed and put it on the workspace, just like we did here. There's, of course, a whole bunch of guiding questions for them to consider before they start this process. This is where they will start focusing more on the functionality, how the city functions. And this is where they will also learn how it functions. So the city charter, this is where students are going to have all these guiding questions to help them focus on this, what the name of the city will be, the boundaries, the government, elected administrative officials, city boards, so on and so forth. Again, the whole game is about how the work is going to be divided, how they will know what to do, and how they will brainstorm together to come up with a solution. Governance. This is where it's our component tool is so amazingly great, because you can actually create these hierarchical structures to show not just what the functionalities are in a city, but also to see the hierarchy, how it works, who is on the top, the mayor, underneath the city council, the city manager, who is under the city manager, what is their role, and really you have all these scaffolding that says replace with one functionality the city manager is responsible for. So it's very clear to the students that once they go into these components, they know what to do. So how do you work? How do you create a component? The component tool is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th tool here. And you click on it and you start typing the name of the component. You add an image here for the component. And once you have it, then this is how it looks once you created it. So this is the city council, then an image of the city council. You move next. And what you have here, if you have items or these branches that I was talking about. And for each item, you can add an image, of course, that represents it. And there's also scaffolding here because we provided it. So it says here exactly what to do. So all they have to do is just, highlight it and replace it with whatever they're expected to replace it with. They can add as many items as they need by clicking on the plus button here, add item, and that will add a new item for them. They can also use the trash can to remove items if they don't have as many. So that's, they can also add more supporting materials, which I didn't show you, sorry about that. So every one of these has one image that you can add, but if you add more, if you have more substantiating things like another file or another video or anything, you can still add more supporting materials. That's also a possibility. So this is really, in that sense, this is really very powerful because you can use, like I said, the relationship tool to connect and show not just all the functionality that are necessary to govern the city, but also the hierarchy, how that works. Transportation. So this is, again, one of the great things about project-based learning is that you can assign roles. Students love roles. And they love to be, I'm in charge of transportation, and I'm in charge of the governance, or I'm in charge of something in governance, and so on. Even in here in the governance, it's a good idea to divide it. So, and again, we are going to focus again on management, but it's a good idea for students to know exactly which ones they are responsible for. And then there's a whole issue of presenting to each other their conclusions and so on. So in this case, somebody can become the transportation expert, or maybe a few in the team can become transportation experts. Maps, maps of the city, they can come up with a map. When they use that software to design their city of your dreams, they can also come up with a map of the city and then import the images and put them here. Tourism, who's in charge of tourism? Again, nothing new here. I already showed you how to use media in project files and how to use text. So there's nothing new here to add. And finally, reflections. So right now, what we have is a few ways to provide feedback. One way to provide feedback is just to use the text tool. Just click, and create. You can create, by the way, if you use the text tool, you can create a little digital sticky note. So this can be my feedback. And I can then go here to the 3 dots and go to format item and select even a color for it and even mark it with a pin. So this is my sticky note. And what's great about our sticky notes is that they never get to the trash. You can always find them and you can always repurpose them. And what's great, if you need more stickies, you can even create copies. And it creates exactly with the same formatting. You can add as many sticky notes as you want. What we have here is something a little bit different. And this is our analysis styles tool. And I'm going to show you that in our next session that's coming up at 1 o'clock your time. And because I have another Zoom meeting at your 11. And so we'll continue from this place. But we have a few more minutes, so I'm open to more questions if you guys have more questions about what I showed so far.
Hi, Miriam. So just to make sure, you said that the stickies for the feedback, they can't be erased, or if they are erased, then they can come back.
No, you can repurpose everything. So here, I created now these stickies, okay? Here, my feedback. I can now go back to my content library and I can copy to workspace. Not just that, I can even copy this to another project.
Okay.
So if
it's
I'm
like
working, so
right.
here, if I'm going to the content library again,
Mhm.
and I'm going here, I can go copy to another project. So yes, everything is repurposable. Everything can be repurposed because of the content library. And that's what's also great, because one of the things that's typical about project-based learning is that the multiple representations of the same information is so crucial for student understanding. And so what this allows you to do, let's say that you want now to do a compare and contrast somewhere, and you need every information that you gathered in all these phases. Now you want to make a table and show how exactly these compare. You can then go and create a new tab completely, and then go and present all this information, just go back to the content library and start dropping that information into your table and make a compare and contrast out of it. Like I said, the same way we did this before. So everything is there. You can just arrange it, put a title to it, arrange it, and just, kind of show exactly, compare it to something else.
Sorry, is the feedback though something that the students can erase?
Is the what?
Is the feedback post-its like something that the students can erase?
They can erase everything. They can archive everything. But as I showed before, if I'm going
Okay.
and archiving this, then I
Mhm.
can go back here to the show archived,
Mhm.
and I can now drop it back again, restore.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right.
One more thing that we have, and I'm going to show you that next, is something that's called show history, that shows exactly who contributed what. Because I'm a teacher, it's not going to show here, but once students start working on it, you will be able to see everything that they did and when they did it. So they can't even lie to you. Like, oh, I did not do this, because you have a history of what they have done.
Right. Okay, thank you. And I think at this moment we'll close it out.
Yes, and then we'll reconvene at 1 p.m. your time.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So 1 o'clock, it's still, the link is in the same email that you got this link.
Yes.
And so, yeah, but reach out to Chris or I if you lost it, that's fine. All right, thank you. We'll
Bye.
see you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.